You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to AWEP Nigeria Preconference activity. Our participants will join via their links and we'll be off and running. We're sorry we are starting a bit behind schedule. We're about 12 minutes behind schedule. In another 3 minutes, we will be kicking off. Apologize once more for starting a bit late. Just some housekeeping and technical issues we wanted to address.
Okay. Good afternoon. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we are able to hear you, Mr. Israel. You are audible, loud and clear. And I would like to advise that you just stand by and you'll be called to present when the time is right. We're just giving 2 minutes for our participants to join the webinar and we'll be off and running. Thank you, Mr. Israel.
Okay. You're going to permit me to use my mobile device. My laptop, the network wasn't so strong. So I'm just going to be holding my phone while Dr. Sheila would project my slides. Is that fine?
That is great.
It's okay.
Yes, it's fine. Thank you, Mr. Israel.
Pleasure is mine.
Up to 31 people.
Okay, I think we are about ready to begin. Please, I would like to crave our indulgence. If you are not speaking, kindly mute your microphones to ensure that we have minimum interference on the call. You're welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good day to you. AWEP ESCO members and special guests here present. My name is Emilia Csaszar, and I am the General Secretary, AWEP Nigeria. It is my joy and honor to welcome you all to this event of the day and especially appreciate and thank NICERT and International Trademark Association, INTA, for partnering with AWEP to empower more business SMEs through capacity building. To all our participants, we are glad to meet your acquaintance here today, and we welcome you warmly to this training session. We are wishing you a very impactful session today. This is the first of activities lined up to commemorate our upcoming conference of the 26th November 2020. We will be having 2 presentations from NICERT and INTA. The first presentation from NICERT will be delivered by Mr. Israel Olayiwola, who will be delivering a presentation on roadmap to lucrative international markets for agro-commodities. The second presentation will be delivered by Mrs. Lara Kayode, who will handle the topic, Intellectual Property, Essentials for Women Entrepreneurs in Africa. Now, I would like to give us a brief overview of AWEP. AWEP is an outreach, education, and engagement initiative that targets African women entrepreneurs, specifically in Nigeria. AWEP is an initiative of the United States Department of State, DOS, created to help African women entrepreneurs participate in international markets by taking advantage of the benefits of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA. This is a trade initiative, and there are other initiatives that were targeted. We endeavor to create entrepreneurs through providing technical and financial training, mentorship, export training, access to a clear path to local and export markets for their products and services. We operate in 5 clusters, such as agriculture, food processing, fashion and apparel, hair and body, light manufacturing, and services. We have a presence in the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, which is presided over by our vice presidents. We are led by our able national president, Mrs. Ajala. Our mission is to build a network of highly skilled business women by providing valuable information, access to markets, finance, and new opportunities with a vision to position women-owned businesses across global borders and platforms. We encourage you all to become an AWEP member today and get first-hand information and updates, attend international trade fairs and trainings, be exposed to financial opportunities for SMEs and women-owned businesses, among other opportunities. To register, kindly visit our site, www.awepnigeria.org, or call the National Secretariat on 090-80-161-152. This information will be displayed in our chat box for all. At this junction, I would like to welcome our resource person, Mr. Israel Olayiwola, who will be delivering a presentation, as earlier mentioned, on roadmap to lucrative international markets for agro-commodities. Mr. Israel Olayiwola is a lead consultant at NICERT Group and a graduate of agriculture from the University of Ilorin, Nigeria. He is currently running his master's degree in global food security at Queen's University, Belfast, UK. He works as a consultant with NICERT Expert Consulting Limited of NICERT Group. He is a Commonwealth scholar with a passion for sustainable development in the area of food availability, affordability, and nutrition. He is a certified research data analyst and project manager and would be delivering our first training. Remember to drop your questions in the Q&A box. At the end of the lecture, the resource person will address all your questions. They will all be treated. However, before the presentation begins, I would love to humbly and quickly call on our national president, Mrs. Ajala, to give her brief opening remarks. Madam President, the floor is yours. Just a quick word from you before we thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen with us. Thank you for joining us. This is a very special webinar, and what we're trying to do with the pre-conference activities is to make sure our members have relevant information to position them for markets in 2021. We have discovered that certifications are very key and very essential to validate your products and your services and to make you to compete favorably on global standards and on global markets. And so the difference, we can't exhaust all the certification. We're trying to put together other certifications that will be needed in other clusters, but this is a beginning. And these are the things that are going to be needed in going forward. If you are not certified in the things you are doing, you cannot attract the right partnership, the right collaborations, and the right investments. And so let's take this as one of the things we are going to begin to add to our businesses to make sure that we stand apart from the things we're doing. We especially welcome our resource person. Thank you, our Secretary General who heads our conference activities this year. You have said a lot about AWEP and you have done justice to what we do. And so without much ado, we'd like to welcome all the ladies for taking time to join us. Please stay in there with us till 3 o'clock because this is going to be a very impactful webinar, and get your questions ready for anything you need to do. Thank you very much. I can see Dr. Sheyi on board with us, Concept 1024, our technical partner. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Sheyi. All members of the executive, pleasure to see all your beautiful faces. Thank you very much. Madam Sekjen, the ball is in your court. Please take over and guide us. We can't hear you. Hope you're not muted.
Hello, Mrs. Ajala. Thank you so much.
I can see you, yes.
Yes, can you hear me now, please?
Yes, we can, yes.
Okay, I want to thank you very much for your words of encouragement and keynotes. I want to say this is the time for us to properly kick off this event. And Mr. Israel Olayiwola, who is our consultant from NICERT, I want you to please take the floor and render your presentation, sir. Thank you so much for joining us today. You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, AWEP. Good afternoon, participants. My name is Israel, and I'll be talking on roadmap to lucrative international markets for agro-commodities. Aside from the agro-commodities, I just realized that my screen will be projected any moment from now. And but before then, I will just give a brief overview of what NICERT is all about. So we are a group of company. NICERT Group is a group of company containing 3 subsidiaries. We have the NICERT Expert Consulting that handles training, advisory, and consultancy service in areas of compliance to international international standards for agricultural commodities, as well as food safety standards. We also have we also handle training. We do training. We do consultancy. Then we also have another company called NICERT in partnership with EcoSat. NICERT in partnership with EcoSat is a subsidiary of NICERT Group that is in partnership with EcoSat Group in France. So they handle the certification for agricultural commodities, for processed food products. Excuse
We can't hear anything again. No. People, there's an audio loss. Please, can you check for us? Madam Sekjen, unmute yourself too. We can't hear you.
I'm so sorry about that. We are having some technical issues. Ladies and gentlemen, please, we beg for some patience here. I'm sure he will soon join us now. He actually is on transit, and because of how important this is to him, he had committed to delivering this lecture himself. So I'm sure that in the next few minutes, he'll be back on board. Just let's be patient. We have a very capable consultant that is running our back end. We'll soon be back on track. We apologize.
Okay, thank you, Madam Sekjen. While we're waiting for him, I think we should also begin to look at the various clusters and the kind of certifications we're expecting to see. You know, like the agric and the food processing, members should begin to, some will be doing SON, some will be doing NAFDAC, depending on what you're producing.
Sorry about the breaking transmission.
Thank you, he's back. So let's continue with him. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to be...
Mr. Israel, are you with us now?
Yes, I am. I want to share my screen now.
Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay. A moment. I'm trying to share my screen from my mobile device. Do we have my screen now? So I'm going to navigate.
You can see your screen.
Okay. Do we have the slide? Are you able to see the slides? The PowerPoint? Are you able to see the PowerPoint?
Yes, we can, sir. Please go ahead.
Fantastic.
No, we are.
Yeah.
The slides have not come on yet. Now we can see it, yes.
Okay, good. So I'm just going to use my phone. Sorry for that. We are a group of companies. We have the NICERT Expert Consulting Limited, and we handle consultancy training on certification and also international food safety standards for processors, for primary production, which I will be talking extensively on today. So then our business sector, we have organic, we do training on organic agriculture. We also provide certification for organic agriculture according to the EU standard, based on the EU standard, US standard, and some other international organic regulations. But briefly today, my objective for this training will be, I would introduce NICERT, which I just did, then how do we access these lucrative international markets? What are the common certifications for agro-commodities? From what I realized concerning AWEP, I must commend what you're doing, and I'm glad we have a body like you in Nigeria. I am also able to realize that we have not just agricultural commodities, we also have people in apparel value chain, cosmetics, which there are also international standards for some of these products, which I would also be talking about today. Then what's the procedure for group certification? Maybe the cost of certification might be too expensive for a particular holding. How do we cohort ourselves to obtain certification? I will talk about the procedure for group certification. Then what's the certification process? How is it done? Because a lot of clients would call and it will be like, oh, I'm an exporter. I have this product that I'm already exporting, but my client now is requesting for maybe organic certification or a global gap certification or a fair trade certification. How do I go about it? So after today's webinar, everybody in this webinar would have clear understanding of the certification process. How is it done? If I'm an exporter, am I able to get certification for what I am doing? Then it will also position us, like Madam Emilia had rightly said, if we are already maybe a portfolio exporter, we can transform into a major exporter by the virtue of having our product certified according to these international standards. A lot of these standards, they are not compulsory standard. They are just for market penetration. Most of them are voluntary. They are market driven. So when you meet you would have some people already exporting their products, even without certification, or maybe to some other countries, like maybe to India, to China. But when you want to penetrate markets like the EU, like the US, you will need certification. They may not be compulsory, but your clients will be requesting for that. And once you have that certification, even buyers will take you more seriously. I'm just, so my after the introduction to NICERT, I'll be talking about what are the steps, what is a lucrative international market. From studies of international market trends and market intelligence for crops and agricultural products for which Nigeria has competitive advantage, we have come to realize that the European market, US, and in the recent time, Middle East, they pose a very good opportunity. They present a very good opportunities for the agro-commodities that we have competitive advantage in Nigeria, which I will measure some of the commodities as we go on with the webinar. However, we have come to realize that lack of production and certification to meet entry requirements to this market has been a major obstacle. And that was the reason why NICERT Group was better, because we realized that a lot of our products, they get banned when we export them to this market, to these countries. They get banned because of some might be because of pesticide residue, some might be because of lack of quality. But what certification does is it inspects, it shows that you have conformed with a particular specification of this country. So for you to have had your product or your company certified according to a particular standard, it means that your production practice has conformed with that particular standard. And certification is just a proof of compliance, because if you have done the due diligence, you have followed the specification, and you don't have your product certified, then there won't be any proof. How is certification done? It's usually, most of these standards will be set by the operating body. Then the operator is meant to comply with the standard. Maybe you want to raise your, let's use tiger nut, for instance, as a case study. You are into primary production. You want to produce your tiger nuts according to maybe organic standard, or organic standard, just let's use organic standard. You want to export to the EU, and you want to produce your tiger nuts according to the EU organic regulation. You as an operator, you are meant to understand what does organic say about this particular crop. Then you comply. After complying, you will now contact a third-party certification body, such as NICERT in partnership with ECOCERT. You will communicate with a certification body who has been given accreditation to come and inspect, then certify you that truly XYZ company has complied with this particular standard. So that's how it is done generally. It's not, okay, let me just speak to my slide. It's because I'm using a mobile device, and so just bear with me. Steps to market access. The first one is awareness of market trends, because every market you're interested in, they have their peculiarity. The EU has its own demand. The US has its own demand. Canada has its demand. The UAE, they have their own demand. So you should be aware of the market trend. What is the market even saying? I realized one of a friend told me some time ago that there was one time he heard this news about, well, there's a huge market for turmeric. Turmeric now, they are demanding for turmeric in, I think, in Netherlands also several years ago. So he went ahead and said, oh, I've heard about this thing. Let me get into this opportunity, which is very fine. So he went ahead to plant this turmeric. Then after planting, then fortunately for him, he got a buyer who was interested in taking the turmeric, fresh turmeric. Then the buyer asked, okay, now that you have a turmeric, your turmeric is ready for harvesting, what certification does your turmeric has? Then the friend told me that, I don't even understand. What are you saying? Certification? Am I supposed to certify this? So when you are aware of the market trend, it will tell you that, oh, they are not just requesting for this particular commodity. They are not just requesting for this volume of products. They also want this product certified to a particular specification. So the first step is awareness of the market trend. What is the market saying regarding these products you're cultivating already? The compliance, how do you now comply to that standard, to meet that requirement? Compliance could be in terms of good agricultural practice. Some international standards could be hinged on quality, some are ethical standards, some are based on environmental factors, some are based on sustainable production, which I would talk to us briefly. So there should also be, after complying, definitely you have to certify your product. Okay, and usually it's the company that has the certification. Maybe you have a company called XYZ company producing apparel. This company may choose to apply for a fair trade standard. So that means your apparel now is now conforming to a fair trade standard. So it will be written in your certificate that company XYZ has apparel certified. Also be continuous research, and a lot of these specifications, they change over time. So it's important that after certification, there should be a continuous research and development to know what is the market even saying again. So the first step is awareness. Second step is compliance. Third step is certification. That's your proof of compliance. Then the fourth one is a continuous one. It should begin our steps to market access. And even after certification, we should also continue on that. That's research and development to know what the market is currently saying. The next outline here is what are the common certifications for agro-commodities. Basically, most are primary production. Product certification is the process of certifying that a certain product has passed performance tests and quality assurance tests and meets criteria stipulated in contracts. This is Wikipedia 2020. Product certification simply means that this particular product has passed conformity and assessment tests. So because for every standard, there are guidelines, there are scope, just as we have a national standard here in Nigeria, the MANCAP standard, that's for the Standard Organization of Nigeria. Every standard we are complying with has their scope, they have their specification. These are what you should do. It could be in terms of documentation, it could be in terms of the input you should use, it could be in terms of what record should you keep. So they have their specification, and during the certification process, there will be an audit whereby an auditor from an external certification body would come and inspect what you have done. Have you truly complied with the standard? And the auditor is not going to trust the words of your mouth alone. It's just the auditor would have to see what you're doing in real time. Then what documents have you kept in compliance with this standard? What are the benefits of product certification? The first one is it improves, aside from the farmers, it improves farmers and processors or actors' livelihood through increased revenue. Because once you have your product certified, you would command higher price in the market. So you're not gonna be selling your products at the price of conventional products. So you would have an incentive for certifying your products. Buyers will request more from you. You would have more orders. It strengthens local supply and provides access to lucrative international markets. There's a particular standard called HACCP, which I would also talk about. It's for food processors. This definition of HACCP is hazard analysis and critical control point. It's a minimum food safety standard if you want to export your processed food products to the US, to the EU currently. So, and for you to comply with that standard, it's for processors. And processors they don't necessarily need to have their farm. They don't need to have a primary production. But one of the key prerequisite program for obtaining this certification is that you must be sourcing your raw materials from a GAP certified farm. That's a farm that has complied with good agricultural practice. And if you're a food processor in Nigeria and you don't have access to these farms, you don't have access to farmers who are implementing good agricultural practice, then it becomes a problem to even comply with a processing food safety standard. So that's why I'm trying to say that it strengthens local supply, then also provide access to lucrative international markets. Once you have these standards, you will begin to command more orders will come in for you. There's sustainability in the supply chain because you're making more, you are keeping record. So there's definitely going to be sustainability in your supply chain. You may even have some of our clients in the organic value chain. They have their products, they used to get orders even prior to production. It will surprise you to know that a buyer, an operator who has not even harvested, they are already sold out because it's not a joke. Once you have this certification, you're good to go. Even though it's not compulsory, organic is a compulsory standard, which I will still talk about. Even though Some of these standards, they are not compulsory for you to export, but they are market-driven standards. It provides competitive advantage. So definitely it builds trust in business transaction because your clients will rely solely on the certification you're able to present. They're not just going to say, oh, I know this person. Even if you're from Nigeria, once you are producing your products according to this international specification, there is no discrimination. There is efficient traceability for quality assurance and product recall. Once you have certification, it is expected that you must have kept due record for traceability, that's to trace the origin of your product, for quality assurance, then even for product recall. Maybe there's any time we have a product defect and we have already sent out this product to the market. One thing that certification does is that your documentation requirements will enable you to be able to trace this product and withdraw them from the market. Access to more local and international funding. I did a study on a particular cooperative I'm talking on the last benefits here now. These are just amongst other benefits. Access to more local and international funding. A standard like fair trade, it's an ethical standard. It supports corporate social responsibility. If your production is complying with the fair trade standard, definitely you are getting more incentive from international donors to support corporate social responsibility, community development. So this is the first standard. Remember, we were on these points. Common certifications for agro-commodities. I've talked about certification, what it's all about, the benefits, and this is the first standard I want us to pay attention to. Global GAP standard. It is called Global Good Agricultural Practice. The G here represents good. The A represents agriculture. The P represents practice. Global Good Agricultural Practice is a farm assurance program translating consumer requirements into good agricultural practice. So maybe we are into the production of banana, coconuts. It's basically for fresh fruits, vegetables, and livestock. And a buyer says, oh, I want to cultivate banana. I need a global GAP standard. I need a global GAP certified banana. It simply says that your banana should have been produced according to global GAP standard. How is this production done? You have to first of all be trained on the global GAP standard, then you begin to implement. The implementation relies solely on your practice, how you use your fertilizer at the recommended rate, how you control pests using allowed substances, what record have you kept to show your implementation. So these are this global GAP is majorly for the European markets. If you're into fresh fruits, vegetables, and livestock, you want to start exporting your products massively to the EU, global GAP standard is a good standard for you. And one thing I also want us to pay attention to is that let us our choice of standard, aside from saying this my product complies is under the scope of this standard, let us make our standards to be a market-driven approach. What am I trying to say? You don't just go ahead and comply with the global GAP standard when you don't have any request for that or a potential request for that. Because a lot of these products, some clients will say, oh, I don't want global GAP banana, I want an organic banana. So it's important that when we have once we have the capacity to produce, let us communicate with our clients. Or I can cultivate this particular crop, I want to produce this particular crop for you. Let us ask, what standard, what are your specifications? What standards are you looking for in terms of quality, in terms of international certification? So, but when they say global GAP, definitely this person should be talking from Europe. A client from the US will not call you and say they want a global GAP banana. Not likely. Or maybe except they're just contacting you, but they want to export to the EU. Because this standard is basically for the European market. The second standard I want us to pay attention to is the organic regulation. Organic is a regulated agriculture. It's different from all other standards that are voluntary. For you to have your product, okay, let's just read this thing. The second paragraph here. Whenever you visit a supermarket, please take a look at the product's label. You will see a lot of claims about organic, but amongst them, the organic logo stands out as the only one underpinned by law. What is this saying? For you to have your product certified as organic, for you to have a claim to say, oh, this my coconut oil, this my moringa oil is organic, there must be a logo on it. And the logo is a proof of certification. So there is no organic, you can't claim to be doing organic without certification because it is regulated. There are rules and regulations guiding organic. As a matter of fact, you cannot export your products. I say it with all my chest. You cannot export your products as organic to the EU, to the US, to Canada, calling it organic without certification. So that's how strict it is. That's how compulsory it is. You can still export your banana to other countries, to the US, to the EU, if you have the clients interested in that. But once you want to call your products organic, it must have been certified, definitely. And how do you obtain certification? You have to, first of all, be trained on the regulation of the country you want to export to, then apply for certification. It's after this application, once you have been certified, then you can now put, these are the logos. This is a logo for the, I can't use my cursor right now. We can see Europe here. This is a Euro leaf. This is the logo for organic according to the EU regulation. This is EcoSat. It's a private organic standard. This is the USD organic. I'm sure we must have been familiar with some of these logos. So whenever we go to the supermarket and we see any of these logos, it simply means that this product has been produced according to this organic regulation. And I want us to know that there are a lot of farms in Nigeria now who has gotten this, the first standard I mentioned, the global gap standard, the EU logo, the USDA logo, and some of these standards. So they are not out of place to say, oh, maybe these people are just talking from the point of international producers. No, we have farmers in Nigeria, we have processors in Nigeria who have gotten these standards. So they are human beings like ourselves. So it's something we can we can easily pull off once we address it through the right strategy. And NICERT, in partnership with EcoSat, is ready to certify you. NICERT Expert Consulting is there to give you the available training, available consultancy, advisory you would need to obtain any of this certification. I'm going to be moving to the third certification I've mentioned. The first one I mentioned was the Global Gap, Global Good Agricultural Practice, which has to do with fresh fruits, vegetables, and livestock. And it's majorly for the European market. I talked about the organic regulation, that it's a compulsory standard. So you must have be certified before you can export your product as organic to any country that has an organic regulation. And one thing these countries have done is that to facilitate international trade. Like if you have complied with the EU regulation now, you can export your products as organic to the US because they have what we call equivalence. So it simply says that they have a trade agreement that says if any producer is operating according to this particular regulation, they can still export their products as organic to my own region. And you can be in Nigeria implementing the USDA organic standard and have your product certified as organic. The third standard is a fair trade standard, which supports CSR. The fair trade certification system covers, I hope I'm not too fast, sorry. The fair trade certification system covers a great range of products, including banana, shea nuts, coconuts, any product that requires a lot of drudgery process, human labor. You might want to subject your product to fair trade certification. Even your apparel, it can take fair trade. Your leather, it can be certified for fair trade. And you're not just getting incentive for the market price, you're not just selling at the market price, you're also getting incentive for CSR. That's how fair trade works. It's a very good standard to penetrate this lucrative international market. These are the market trend. This is banana, this is the tonnage in 2017. This is a cocoa. And one thing I want us to also understand is that it is possible for us to actually have our product certified according to two standards, more than one standard. We have one of our clients that has a global gap and organic standard for their products. So it's possible for you to comply with two standards at the same time. It's possible for you to be compliant with the EU organic regulation and the USD organic regulation for one product. It's possible. And it's possible for you to have multiple crops certified for one particular standard. You can be cultivating tiger nuts, ginger, hibiscus, soybean, and that is the standard. Is the UTZ. My time is supposed to end by 2 p.m. But I didn't start early, so please just permit me, panelists, let me finish what I have to say in few minutes. So the fourth standard is the UTZ Rainforest Alliance. This standard is for producers in the tea, beverage industry, even cocoa too. They built an alliance to protect forests, improve livelihoods of farmers, forest communities, promote their human rights, and help them mitigate and adapt to climate crisis. UTZ Forest, if you're doing hibiscus, if you're doing tea, if you're doing moringa, if you're doing cocoa, don't be surprised when your buyer says, oh, do you have a UTZ certified hibiscus? Hibiscus is Zobo. Or do you have a UTZ certified cocoa beans? If you scroll up here, we would see that under this fair trade, we have cocoa bean, we have coffee. Can we see that? If you come under organic too, you can also have your cocoa certified as organic. So that's what I was just trying to say, that you can have your product certified according to different standards, depending on your market of interest. But organic is a very flying standard once you can comply. And it has a higher incentive. Aside from UTZ, there are also some standards that are particularly for processors. You're processing spices, you're processing pepper, that's tomato paste, puree. You want to apply for certification. You're not doing farming. You want to you're a processor and you want to export your products. These are common international food safety standards that we can key into. The first one I will be referencing here is the HACCP. That's Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points. What HACCP does is it seeks to address all significant hazards that are peculiar to the safety of your products. So it's a very common food safety standard that any food processor can key into and apply and get certified. Once you have this certification, you can export your product, your processed food products, to any market, any lucrative international market. We also have the International Featured Standard. Is a common standard that food processors can subject their operation to. We have the FSSC 22000, is a food safety system certification. We have the BRC, this is peculiar to the UK, as British Retail Consortium. We have the SQF. So these are some of these international food safety standards for processors. You can have your product certified. You can have your product certified as organic, any of these primary production standards, and still be processing. So it's not out of scope. But these are just the standard I'm talking about here for processed food products. They are for processors that they don't have access to primary production. They just want to process. Maybe they have SKUs and they are producing tea. They want to just certify their products according to an international food safety. They can subject their operation to any of these standards. They are still good to go. These are the logos for some of these standards I've mentioned. This is HACCP, this is IFS, this is BRC. Whichever one we feel we want to conform to, it's doable. With the help of God, with the help of NICERT Group, we're here to help you. What is the procedure for group certification? Now, you don't want to do this alone. You want to cohort your team. Maybe you have 4 or 5 people into the same value chain. You want to start a group production. How do we intend to go about it? Smallholder group certification implies that group members operate under contractual or binding membership requirement, specifying the commitment to comply with applicable production standards and permit inspection. So this is simply saying that you must have a contractual binding that says, oh, we have these 5 processors, 5 producers in this value chain, and they are willing to operate under a particular standard. So there should be a central body responsible for their coordination. There should be a uniform input distribution, uniform aggregation, that's the produce. There should be a uniform processing facility. All of that should be addressed uniformly for quality assurance, for traceability, and it's also a requirement for the certification. Individual operators within the group may not be able to use their certification independently. So we have 5 companies processing, producing tomato now, tomato production. They want to start exporting. You may not be able to use your certification alone as an individual company. It's going to be a group work because you're going to be audited together. Your certificate is going to carry the names of all these companies, all these holdings under this group certification. The group should be managed under one central administration. The producers should be located in close geographical proximity. The crops and farming practice of this group should be uniform, should have a centralized processing and marketing facility system. A program of knowledge transfer should be in place to ensure that all members understand the applicable production standards and how to apply those to their specific operations. The group will have an organization set up and legal status backed up by an organogram. So this has to do with, there should be a structure in place. Let's go to the general certification process. Before I talk about the general certification, let me run us through what we've been saying since morning. The first one has to do with certification. An operator, like the companies we have, the members under the AWEP body, they can choose to comply with a particular standard. Are you a processor? Are you a processor? Are you a primary producer? Are you doing both? You can choose to comply with any of these standards. After implementation, you would apply for certification. Then what happens when you apply for certification? How is it done? How are you being able to get certification? The first step is application and application review. So all you need to do is communicate a certification body in Nigeria, NICERT, in partnership with ECOSAT. Our website is www.nicert.net. Or you can easily contact me, israel@nicert.net. You can communicate with me. Oh, this. I'm interested in. You can even call. I have this product. What certification should I apply for? We'll guide you. The first thing I'm going to ask is, where is your market of interest? Once I know that, I'll tell you, oh, I'm doing banana. I want to start exporting to Europe. Have you tried? Would you like global gap or organic? So we would ask all of that. So when you apply for certification, application for certification is free. All you need is just communicate with the certification body. The certification body will send you an application form where you would fill and put in the location of your operation, your company name, what you want to certify. You can certify your primary production, you can certify your processing facility, you can certify both. Organic, for instance, if you are an exporter, you have an export line, and you don't have a farm, you're sourcing from the open market.
Have we lost Mr. Israel?
Yes, I think he's still struggling with his network. I was just trying to give him a Mr. Israel, we're waiting for you, but before you come back on.
Okay. One of the things while we wait for him in engaging our members, Madam Secretary, one of the things that we want us to do is to do a compilation of our members' products that will need certifications, so that we can speak as a body and we can negotiate and leverage on our numbers. If we take it individually, the cost will be high.
So these are the products we have. These are the certifications that would be necessary. This is the cost, and we put it together. And then we take the training and what will be required for each. So we'll need to do a spreadsheet of that to support us in going forward. Mr. Israel is back, I hear.
Yes, I'm sorry about that. I am actually on the road, so the network on the highway is fluctuating. I heard what the moderator just said. That would be a very good approach. When we have the list of commodities you're interested in obtaining certification for, we can even recommend the certifications you need to apply for, what and this, because some of these certifications, they have their scope. In fact, all of them have their scope. So let me just, in a few minutes, I'll be rounding up. Please, how many minutes do I have left?
Mr. Sheila, you should be rounding up about now, but we wouldn't want to go without answering some of the questions that have been posed. If you check the Q&A box,
maybe another 5 minutes. Let's try and keep to time for the other person.
Exactly.
Okay. I was just trying to explain I wouldn't share my screen again. That was the last slide. I was just trying to explain the certification process, which is very paramount for us to also understand. After the application, they will send you, the certification body will send you an application form where you would fill your company name and your details. After that, your application will be reviewed. If what you're applying for doesn't fall under that particular standard scope, your application might be rejected. So that's why the training, the consultancy is very necessary prior to even applying for certification. Then after your application has scaled through the review stage, you would have to they will develop a quotation for you. There will be an invoice where you need to make your payment. After payment, there will be an audit whereby your documents that you have kept to show your proof of compliance will be audited. Then a real-time inspection to your facility, your farmland, everything will be thoroughly inspected by the auditors sent by the certification body. They will inspect, and during the audits, there's what we call non-compliance. So there are areas whereby you have deviated from the standards, or you have not done the necessary thing, or maybe the records you have kept are not sufficient. The auditor will flag off some non-compliance, which you would need to come up with corrective action to implement prior to. Certification is actually a decision. For the fact that you have paid doesn't guarantee that you're going to get certified. That's why you have to be trained. You have to understand the requirements before even making your payments, so it doesn't become very complicated. So after you have scaled through the corrective action stage, then you will definitely have your certification. And once certified is not forever certified. There's what we call renewal. So for every year you're going to be renewing, there will be another audit that would check if you're still following suit to the standard. So that's how it runs and runs like that. Let me quickly attend to the Q&A. Before I just logged in, so I wouldn't know, I might have missed some of the Q&A. I can only see one here. So how do we address that, Madam Emilia?
Yes, just go ahead and address that question. I think that's the only question that was posed, because your delivery was so excellently and well understood. I think going forward is just for us to regroup as AWEP.
Will we get the
to
slides?
send the list of our members that will be certification to you. So if you can just address, and we'll take it from them, Mr. Israel. Thank you.
Okay, so I have Hidayah Balogo said, I process food products, powdered herbs, and my products include fruits, vegetables, etc. Do I need GAP certified? So she's processing these products, powdered herb. What she needs to apply for is a HACCP, a food processing standard. You just need to find farmers who can supply you these raw materials from GAP certified farm, or farmers that you can verify that they are using the fertilizer, they are using pesticide at a recommended rate. If you are sourcing your raw materials from a heavily infested produce and farm, it would affect the quality of this product. So you don't necessarily need a GAP certified farm, but if you can have farmers who you can, train on how to implement good agricultural practice, simply saying that use this fertilizer at a recommended rates, don't over apply herbicide, don't over apply. You have proof that you've trained them, you've told them, you have a verification procedure. Because if you are sourcing from the open market, fruit, vegetables, that you cannot trace the origin of this produce, it will be complicated for you to comply with the HACCP standard. But for what you're producing, a suitable standard for you is the HACCP standard. It's a food processing standard, HACCP. Thank you. Any other question?
Okay. I hope Madam Balogun, I hope Mrs. Balogun is okay with that answer from you. You have spoken about certification for our products, positioning for markets, steps towards lucrative markets. You also spoke about product certification and their benefits and the different standards that are there, and how we can get group certification and the principles behind that, and also general certification and the step-by-step processes that we can take to achieve that. I am in the service industry, and I don't know if any of these standards and certifications applies to myself and others that are in the service industry. If you can just quickly speak to that, sir. Thank you. Okay,
for service industry, you can just do a normal quality management system certification. You can do the ISO 9001. It's a quality management standard. So you can do ISO 9001. It's very good for you, or 9000 rather. I think SON should be able to handle that. That's Standard Organization of Nigeria. They would handle that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's excellent. I don't know if we can be availed your slides. Is this slide going to be shared with us? I'm sure that most of our members are looking forward to actually have this slide.
Okay, before I answer that, I have another question here by Aisha Suleiman. I don't farm, but stay close to a farming area. I want to go into exports. This farm product, how do I go about it? Well, it depends on the crop they are producing. Do they even have the export volume? So if it depends on, we need to know what you're producing for you to be able to apply for standard. You can, if this farm doesn't belong to you, you can have a contract with these farmers, more like a grower group. So the contract binds you together. You might be the one to apply for the certification on their behalf. So the certification, you have to have a registered company that is willing to, cohort these farmers, bring them into a grower group. Then they are registered under you. So you can apply for certification on their behalf. So both of you are working together. Their equity is their land, their farm. You are taking the produce at an agreed price. So it's doable. The slides, I've sent the slide to the secretariat yesterday. So you have it. But if they are unable to get it, I can quickly forward it as soon as yeah. Any other question? Any other question?
There is no other question that we can readily see.
I think that's it.
NPMA, is there any word you would like to say to resource person before he leaves us?
No, we'll just want to appreciate. Well, we'll just want to appreciate him and to let him know we shall be working closely with them, because we'll be coming together as a group, so that by 2021, let's even be able to say 10 people have certifications in the following areas and they can go globally with their products. And so we'll be working closely with him, bringing the list of the things we have and seeing what certification applies to what products. And then we begin the process step by step, one step at a time. If that's our goal for 2021, I'm sure we can make it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's doable.
I believe so too.
Thank you so much. On that note, let us thank you warmly from the whole body of AWEP. Please take our felicitations and our appreciation back to your organization, NICERT. We continue to partner with you as an organization. We want to thank you for your commitment, because we know you are on transit and you still took time out to be able to present to us today. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you for having me. God bless AWEP. God bless the participants. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Israel.
Yes.
Just a quick one. We just have a question now in Q&A section. It says, hello, please. I want to know how to export soya beans. What are the certifications I need?
Okay, your soya bean, if you want to export, a standard I would recommend for you is an organic soya bean. You can have your soya bean certified as organic, but you must have access to a primary production area. So you can have your soya bean certified according to the EU organic, according to the US organic, depending on your destination country. So organic is fine for soybean.
Thank you very much, Mr. Israel. We would like to quickly go on to our next speaker. We are way behind time.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you very much, participants, for your patience so far. I'm sure we all enjoyed that first session. We will not waste any further time, but to quickly start the second session, that is the presentation from International Trademark Organization. So INTA will be delivering the next session. But I have a co-moderator who will be introducing the next resource person. She is the Assistant Secretary General of AWEP, Mrs. Nelly Ndaguba. Madam Nelly, I want at this junction to call you to begin to moderate the next session. Thank you so much, participants. 1 more hour to go. We have learned so much today, just to encourage us to continue to be on the platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Good afternoon. We are taking the second session. We all agree that the first session was very, very okay. I know a lot of us who does not know about certification have gotten something to take home. We are in for the second one on intellectual property. The topic is intellectual property essentials for women entrepreneurs in Africa, which will be taken by Ms. Lara Kayode. I'm just going to give a brief about her. Ms. Lara Kayode is the founder of the law firm of Kayode & Co., based in Lagos, Nigeria. An IP boutique firm. Her practice covers both corporate and commercial matters, with a particular emphasis on industrial and intellectual property law and alternative dispute resolution, with a special interest in mediation. Lara started her education at Command Schools, Children's Schools, Ikeja, before proceeding in 1979 to Fiwashaye Girls Grammar School, Akure, and Command Secondary School, Jos, respectively, for her secondary education. She completed her O-levels in 1984. She attended Felixstowe College for Ladies in Suffolk before proceeding to the study law at the University of Buckingham, England, where she graduated with honors in 1991. She was admitted as a solicitor and barrister of the Supreme Court of Nigeria in 1992. In 1994, she completed a Master's of Laws from the Queen Mary and Westfield College, University of London, where she obtained an LLM in Intellectual Property and Information Technology Law. She began her career as a practicing lawyer in 1992 with one of the leading intellectual property law firms in Nigeria, prior to setting up the law firm of Kayode & Co. in 1996. Ms. Kayode is globally recognized as one of Nigeria's leading practitioners, IP practitioners. Ms. Kayode and her team at Kayode & Co. currently manage the IPRS comprising trademark, patent, and design portfolios for domestic and international clients, respectively. The firm offers advice and solutions for all IP challenges in the Nigerian and African environment. Ms. Kayode has developed a growing enforcement department and has successfully handled counterfeiting cases defending world-famous brands belonging to the firm's clients. In the last few years, Ms. Kayode has developed active and mutually beneficial relationships with associate firms in other African countries, a Center for Effective Dispute Resolution, accredited mediator since 2005. She's a member of the panel of neutrals at the Lagos Multi-Court House. Ms. Kayode is a member of a number of associations, including the section of business law of the Nigerian Bar Association, IBA, PTMG, ITMA, and AIPPI, where she is currently the vice president of the Nigerian National Group, an active member of the INTA, International Trademark Association, She was the first member of the board of directors to be elected from Sub-Saharan Africa 2014 to 2017. She has consistently served on numerous committees, including the Madrid Protocol Committee, Trademark Office Practices Subcommittee, the Information Resources Committee, where she served as subcommittee chairperson for the online publication subcommittee. She represented INTA at the China Trademark Festival 2017, where she spoke about IP protection on the African continent. She currently serves as the subcommittee chair of the Building Bridges SMEs subcommittee, as well as the nominating committee. Prior to that, she was a subcommittee chair for the Henri campaign for Africa and Asia. She has consistently served on numerous committees, including the Madrid Protocol Committee, Trademark Office Practices Subcommittee, the Information Resources Committee, where she served as subcommittee chairperson for the Online Publications Subcommittee. In her spare time, she serves on the board of the French International School, Lagos, where she heads the Legal Commission. She is a published author of many articles in global trademark journals. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Ms. Lara Kayode. In fact, yesterday when we were talking, she said she's trying to edit, her about her. We know that she has really achieved a lot in these intellectual properties, and we know we are going to gain so much from her today. Please let's welcome Ms. Lara Kayode, and please, if while she's presenting, drop your questions on the Q&A drop box. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Nelly. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me very well.
Lara mentioned that you are AWEP member.
Yes, so I'm Madam President. That's my first confession. I'm a member of AWEP. I'm a member of the services cluster. So more than anything, that's my claim to fame, definitely.
Okay.
But before,
thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Before I start my presentation, I have the African liaison. I don't know if Sheila is still on the group, but I have the African liaison. Okay, I have both Sheila and Tat on here, and Tat is going to speak about the INTA. There she is. There's Sheila. I don't know if you can spotlight them. They can be seen as well. So Tat is going to start, and then I'll just take over with the presentation after Tat has spoken. Tat, over to you. Do you need me to share my slides?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Can you hear me very well, everyone? Thank you very much. From the onset, I would like to thank AWEP senior management, AWEP member, and last but not least, Lara Kayode and my colleague here, at HQ, Sheila Francis, for this great opportunity, to be able to be here and to kind of, organize this event, right after, our first, meeting. So it's really important for us that, we are doing it, during right now, and knowing also INT, you can see behind me, we are kind of, in the heat now because we are preparing, our annual meeting and leadership meeting, which is starting, next week. And we hope that next year, we'll be able, to welcome, our senior management and also your members. So having said that, my intervention will be really short, but I would like just to highlight a few points. INT, as you will see later on, in Lara's presentation, is International Trademark Association, and the last few years, with the help of committed members like Lara, we have been, increasing, our participation and our, activities in Africa. And this is thanks, to various, members, including, Lara. So on that, when it comes to our interaction in Africa, or in Nigeria precisely, which is our key country, key jurisdiction, we have interacted, with the usual suspect. I'm thinking about the Trademark Office. I'm thinking about, the lawmakers, at the National Assembly. We have also interacted, with the executive branch, meaning that the Ministry of Trade, Investment, and industry. So it's just, because of COVID, but otherwise, I think I've been in Nigeria last year, every 6 weeks somehow. So I will also kindly request, a Nigeria passport anytime, so that, I don't have to request for a visa next time. But more seriously, we appreciate, in the case of, Nigeria, the positive interaction, with every, government entities, and now, with AWEP. And I would like to say, the interaction with AWEP is kind of a first of its kind, because so far we have only been limited to government agencies. And, having this interaction with AWEP, is kind of, setting the ground for other interaction in the future with other, non-governmental agencies. So we are really happy to be here. And having also, AWEP in the picture help us, to get a different perspective, from the IP landscape, because most of the time, we've been talking to IP practitioner, to so and so, as I mentioned earlier. But, interacting with AWEP, give us the opportunity to get, a first-hand, of what IP or trademark means, we kind of, because we are going now at a more, a practical level. I heard, Mr. Israel's presentation earlier talking about certification. Of course, INTA, we don't deal with certification, but, we could see somehow some bridges, that could be built, in terms of trademark. So, and this is possible because, we have members on the ground, again, like Lara, will help us, to make that connection, with members. So I won't take much more time. I just want to conclude by saying that, INTA is your organization. You've seen kind of, what we are achieving on such a short period, and this is definitely, a positive, because when we see what will come ahead. So in the current situation, I think what has been done, the last few weeks is really, we have to be proud of that, and we have to be mindful that, we still have a lot to do. So, but definitely it's a very good beginning, and then I thank you all, and I will be just here on the background and taking some note and listening to the interesting, interaction and intervention from the members. Thank you, AWEP senior management. Thank you, Lara. Thank you, members of AWEP, and INTA again is your organization. Thanks again. Back to you, Lara.
Thank you, Tat. Thanks so much. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Can you see? Is that good?
Yes, we can.
Yes, you can. Okay, excellent. And you can hear me very well. Okay, so INTA, as Tat has said, INTA has been active in Nigeria. I mean, we've had members of the association for very many years. I mean, going back easily to the 80s, if not before. We've talked about what we do, membership composition. You saw the slide. We currently have 236 members on the continent. And, obviously, we would like to have more members. I have benefited from the association as a practitioner, as a service provider, and I'm really happy to be speaking on behalf of INTA today. Thank you, Madam President, for giving us the opportunity to speak here today. So I'll just set up my slides so that I don't, there we go. So let's get to the business of today. Why are we here? We're talking about intellectual property. And I'm sure you're wondering, can you see my slides? Technology.
Yes,
you can, okay.
But now it's off.
Yeah, it's coming back on. Now it's good?
Now it's okay, yes, good.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm sure you're wondering, okay, intellectual property, we just want to find out what we need to do quickly, why is she talking about AFTA? Because as entrepreneurs, as businesswomen in Africa, if you still don't think we should be talking about AFTA, then we really haven't started to do our business, to conduct business properly. We all know what AFTA is, I'm sure. I know there's a poll that's going to go on. I don't know if it's going to go on now or maybe after this slide, where we will find out from you the kind of rights you have and all of that. But what I wanted to say to you is, why are we talking about AFTA? Because the phase 2 discussions are about to commence. They should have taken place in July, but because of COVID, they were postponed. Now, obviously, they were supposed to be submitted in January 2021 at the session of the AU. But obviously, that probably will most likely be postponed as well because the discussions haven't taken place. The discussions of IP are going to be taking place at this phase 2, during phase 2. So as an organization that AWEP is, I know it's continent-wide, I would seriously suggest that, we should try and get our foot in the door, get, a look in, probably a seat at the table, especially when it becomes necessary to discuss IP rights and what will be, what AFTA will be doing with IP. How does AFTA affect IP? It's going to talk about cross-border protection of IP. As we go on, you'll find out that IP usually is traditionally territorial, but as the global world has expanded, that territory also has expanded. So it's going to deal with existing gaps in continental legislation for IP. It's also going to talk about the regulation of by introduction of the new cross-continental bodies. So everyone is going now. Africa is going to become the world's, quite frankly, the world's largest free trade area since the WTO was formed. So I think we should keep an eye out for that. There are going to be new markets. There's going to be an opportunity to look, readdress the way we grow or the way we do our business. It'll be an opportunity for more FDI, so there'll be more foreign direct investment. So those are the things I think we should have at the back of our mind as an organization. So IP and the SME or MSME. Can I have the poll up now, please, while I speak? Dr. Sheyi. Thank you. Thank you. I see the poll is up and they're asking us, how many of us, can they see the poll? Okay, one person can see.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. So, it's very funny talking to a screen because you really can't see the interaction of people. Excellent, so we have people who've come back. Can we please have more? So we're asking you, these questions. Please respond so that we can know how to address you this afternoon. So what do I get from an intellectual property regime? Which IP regime is right for me? Do I need to register? It's mine. Why should I bother, to do this registration? It's going to cost me money. When is the right time to register? I trade online. What must I do? How long do I have protection for? And when I finally do get around to registering, how do I enforce this right? Are we closing the poll? We still have, okay, we have a few more to answer. So please keep answering and then we'll look at it towards the end. So my next slide says, as an IP, as an entrepreneur, why should IP be a primary focus for you? I listened to the gentleman before who was talking about the certifications. And at one point he said, for you to get a particular certification, you have to have a label. If you don't have a label, then you can't be certified. And I'm thinking, okay, so I hope my ladies are listening. Without a label, you're not certified. By the time you get to that label, you better have it protected. Why is IP important? At the beginning of your business venture, IP is not top priority. I know. I have a lot of women come into my business, to my office, asking for advice. And so I'm starting, or I've been selling for so many years, and I'm like, What about IP? IP is not my priority. Dr. Sheila, we can close the poll now. I think the people who will answer have answered, and then we'll get the results. Thank you. Excellent. So patents, we have 7% of the attendees, of those who answered, have registrations. Trademarks is very popular, 48%, and none of the above, another 44%. Thank you, sir. You can please take the poll away. I don't know how that works. Thanks. Okay, so as I was saying, with tight budget, so you're saying to me, IP, what's IP? It's very expensive. Why should I bother? They're tight budgets. Many ask whether they can afford to protect the IP. And my question really to you this afternoon, which I want you to take away, is, can you really afford not to protect your IP? And what is this IP everyone's talking about? You know, apart from the obvious, your company's products and services, yes. Your intellectual property includes the information a company creates to make or market its products. So there's some formula, there's some paperwork, there's some, maybe you engage an advertising company, or maybe you do it yourself, you do it at home on Instagram. There's some energy that goes into that. There's an idea that you have, and then you begin to express that idea. That is what the law protects. That is what intellectual property is about. Another thing is a method a company has taken to build its reputation and to communicate to the market. It also includes innovations, you know, a company has invented to make its products or services. If I ask now how many of us have a particular phone, maybe like an iPhone, I'm sure you know. If I say how many people have iPhone 12, not many, but some. If you're a IT, if you're a tech person or you're a phone person, you probably have followed those models. And what they're doing is they improve on it. As they improve on it, every time there's an improvement on the old. If it's a technological matter, if it's an innovation, there's a particular IP that will protect that. So that's something to keep in mind. And then regardless of your company size, someone say, I'm so small, why do I don't need to register now, I'm small, I'm just a mom and papa shop. Most great businesses started off from somebody's living room. A lot of entrepreneurs you find started in their living room or in their bedroom sometimes, you know, or in the one-room apartment or a BQ, you know, and the government offers you rights, you know, to protect these rights. So how do we, you know, protect them, and what are they? So here we thought we'd have some fun, you know, just to have a look at the different types of entrepreneurs that, you know, and this is not exhaustive. We kind of picked on the sectors, the clusters within AWEP, you know, and, you know, talked about them. So the World Trade Organization estimates that small and medium-sized enterprises count for 95% of most countries' businesses. In Africa, SMEs encompass 90% of all businesses. At the same time, Africa is a hub of activity, creativity, innovation, and IP will prove crucial, you know, for the continent to unlock its full economic potential. Remember what I said to you about the AFTA table. Get a seat at that desk. So why should it be your primary focus? Because really, your business can depend on it, can ride on it, can hang on it. Example I always give when I give talks like this is about property, real property. So you have in Lagos, I don't know if there are people from other countries, but in Nigeria, there are some areas that we have identified as prime property. And we save up, we buy, if you're gifted a plot of land in some parts of Lagos and in other parts of Lagos, you know how you value, or in Abuja, or Kano, or Kaduna. Now, when you get that property, the first thing you begin to do is gather your papers. I'm a lawyer, so I say to you, do you have assignment? Do you have a C of O? You invest in that process. It's the same thing with your intellectual property. Your IP is your asset. The same way your plot of land in Banana, in Orange, in Maitama, in Riverside, in Nairobi, in Cocody, in Abidjan, in Masaki, in Tanzania is an asset, your intellectual property is also an asset. So whether you're in a fashion, you're in the fashion cluster, you're an agricultural lady, the farmer. Nowadays farming is very cool. It's not relegated to uneducated people as they used to be in the olden days. Now we're farming properly. We're talking organic. Before you can say your product is organic, it has to be organic. There are processes you have to follow. We have food and beverages. You have the little lady here, she's a food and beverage lady. You have the beauty. Beauty is huge. You have pharma, you have both pharmaceuticals and also traditional pharma. You have musicians, you have e-commerce, you have innovation, and all of that. So those are the areas that we, I beg your pardon, okay, so let me get my slides back in sync. So those are the areas that we look at. So we're looking at various areas of business, and to every person that I've mentioned, every area of business I've mentioned, intellectual property is important to you. It is. You spend time and effort into developing your brand, into developing your business. So these are the types of intellectual property that we're going to try. There's some that are obviously more relevant to the current audience. But when we say IP, this is what we're looking at. So you start from copyright, which covers, your author's rights, the rights of the creator. You have over your literary, artistic, musical, books, your paintings, your sculpture, your films, the movies, the computer programs, your databases, your adverts, your maps, your technical drawings. Copyright covers you. You talk about geographical indications. We'll talk about that in more detail later. So that's a sign that, is used on products that have a specific geographical origin. And I'm sure in your mind, you're already thinking, something, at least if you come from Nigeria, if you come from Southwest Nigeria, there's a particular grain that comes from a particular area, and I'm not naming names. If you come from the Middle Belt, Middle Belt area, there's a particular type of yam that that, well, when you eat this yam, this is what it comes from, this area. So those are the kind of things that IP protects. Currently in Nigeria, not directly, but it's something that we can look at. Remember, we talked about cross-border legislation and all of that. Trade secrets. When we talk about trade secrets, everybody knows that there's a beverage that I don't drink it, many people do, is rumored to have one secret. 3 people have it at any point of time in the world, and they don't travel together. It's not protected anywhere, because the minute you protect, you also expose. You have the issue of, you have the IP, industrial designs, which address the ornamental or aesthetic aspects of a product. So I want the ladies in the various clusters to begin to think about which of these rights they will begin to look at, or may be relevant to them. So for instance, the appearance of an armchair. I know of a lady in Nigeria who designs chairs in a particular way. She's an architect, but she's evolved her chairs to be unique, distinctive. So those are protectable. Patents. I hear people say, I want to patent this, I want to patent that. It's an exclusive right you get for 20 years. So that's also another right. Trademarks, which is what we're going to spend a lot of time with. You know what it is, and we'll talk about that later. I have trade dress here. I also have utility models, which we don't have in Nigeria, but we have in other parts of Africa. What is a trademark? So let's go straight to let's take the bull by the horns. It's a sign. A sign capable, it must distinguish your product from that of other people, and it must be distinctive. I don't want to advertise any products, so I'm not going to really show any product here this afternoon. But think about bottles of water. I'm sure on your table where you are right now, you have your preferred brand of water that you drink. So when you look at it, you go to the shop, you buy it. You identify it by the name that whatever the brand is. So there are other bottles there. There are other types of water. There are other brands, but you pick your own, the one you prefer. It may be the taste, it may be the health benefits, but you pick a bottle of water. So that mark distinguishes that product from other products. It doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that for the consumer, the whole essence of trademark protection, is to actually protect the consumer. So the consumer goes into the shop, looks at what they want, identifies, picks it up, and moves on. Now, imagine if your brand is just the same as everybody else's. So is your product going to be distinguished? What can be protected? What is protectable? Words, letters, numerals, drawings, pictures, shapes, colors, logo types, labels, combination used to distinguish your product are protectable. What do you stand to lose if you don't? Why adopt a trademark? Why not? It's your identity. It's the identity of your product. How am I going to know one product from the other? You have, at least in AWEP, I know that there are many, there are various clusters, and there are very many people, there are lots of people who do the same thing. How do we distinguish your products from other people? You have to have a distinctive trademark. Can you use before you register? We operate here in a common law system. So yes, you use your mark, you get a common law protection. Should you register? Yes, please. Because they say to you that, I think there's a common proverb that many people say, copying is the highest form of a compliment, or something like that. When the wrong people copy your product, it is not a compliment. In fact, it's a disadvantage to you, and you lose. So you snooze, you lose. Yes, you can use your product. Start to use it, but begin to think about registration. Duration. When you say we're going the registration route, so you register in Nigeria. It depends. In Nigeria, it's 7 years initially, which is renewable, and then 14 years subsequently, according to the current law that we have. In OAPI, which I'll talk about later, is a regional registration process. It's 10 years and it's renewable. In some countries, the law requires you to use your mark. So you cannot register your mark, file an application, get a certificate, and sit on it and do nothing with it. That's a defensive registration. They will take it off for non-use. So don't gather, so I have to register. I have to identify the brands that mean something to your business, where you are now. Think of where you want to be in 5 years. Identify those markets and begin to say, okay, will this carry, will this travel? Those are the kind of things I'm expecting you to begin to think about as we speak. I talked to you earlier, I spoke about international registrations. It's possible for you to register internationally. It's not a long-winded process, but you better be sure that you see, protecting IP is not cheap, because I'm sure the next question we will get is, how do we get an affordable way to register IP? It's not a cheap way. There's no cheap way. Anything cheap, well, I think you look at it properly, examine carefully before you leap. But identify the markets you want to go into. Look for who will assist you, and then begin to make your plans. And I know that there are a couple of members actually, the first row, save one, AWEP members, and these are members who have actually registered their trademarks. The others are not members of AWEP, but they are all, I'm just giving you examples of trademarks, what trademarks are. So we have here, we have 5 Loaves, YTV, Bosch, Buttercups, BM Pro. So these are examples of trademarks. So you say, okay, how will I register, for instance, 5 Loaves? 5 Loaves is 5 Loaves and a device. So she's got her colors, she's got the wheat, and she's got the brand. The same thing with YTV, with Bosch, and Buttercups. So these are examples of trademarks. It's not just a name. Dangote is a name with the eagle on top. That is a name. His name, can you see? And then he's got his logo. This is the trademark. Same with this drink, same with UAC, same with all of these brands. Now, service marks. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm in the service cluster as this Madam Emilia. And she said, look, I'm in a service cluster. How do I get certification? Not only certification, you can also get registration for your service, the service you provide. Identical to the trademark. Why has the polls come up now? Sorry. Identical to the trademark, but service is a service mark. So and I'll give you some examples. So here we have examples of service marks. These are marks that we all know, we identify. Some travel, some can travel from product, from a trademark, so it's applied on a product. And so they travel from product to service. Some from service, they don't go to product because there's no product. The product is intangible. Are you with me? Please, can you hear me? Yes, okay, I can see Madam Emilia. Okay, good. So they travel. Some travel very well. Some travel from business, from product. And so if you have, for instance, DK, she is a food and beverage lady. So the service, she has a service and she has other things that she does. She does a lot of consultancy under the same brand. And then she has her food as well. So it's to think about it. I'm in a service cluster. I may have a product. So you apply to your product and also to your service. They're different classes. So that's why we say to you, when you come and make inquiries, you say, what do you want to use your trademark for? Where do you want to use it? On a service, on a product? What kind of product? So you can't have one. So for instance, you do water, you water, hair attachment, body cream, and you have the one brand. That one trademark, you're going to have to register in various classes. So that's one thing you must bear in mind. You're going to have them registered in various classes. The same thing with the services. We know what the elephant stands for. We know what the earpiece stands for. So all those are the kind of, begin to think. Anywhere in the world, if you walk in Lagos, in Abuja, in Kano, in Ibadan, in Akure, you see the orange box. Even before you see what's written on it, you know what that building stands for. So it's something to think about. Your mark should be distinctive, not descriptive. Don't describe your product and say, oh, I'm going to register a trademark, Lara's something. Lara's what? It's your name, yes, but do you have something distinctive that you're going to attach to that brand? It's something to think about. It's used to identify a service rather than a product. Now, I mentioned earlier about I trade online, so what do I do? In this day and age, COVID has taught us a lesson. In the last 8 months, I haven't been into my office. I've worked from home. But has my business stopped? No. So for many who have stores, at least for those, for about 2 or 3 months, here in Nigeria, you couldn't go anywhere. So many of us resorted to online trading. Do we have domain names? Are they registered? What is protectable? Your company name, you can whatever, look for. We have a .ng country top level domain. NIRA is NIRA, Nigeria Internet Registration Association, is a registry for .ng internet domain names in Nigeria. So that's something to think about. They maintain the database of names. Are you going to have a .ng domain name for your business? Or are you looking internationally? How long, when a domain name is registered with the NIRA, you're able to use it for a prescribed period of time, which for .ng domains is 5 years, 1 year, between 1 and 5 years. So those are the things we need to begin to think about. There's no point in having my Instagram page and saying something, this, that, and the other, and you're not protected. Somebody else will just lift it. Sell a standard product that already finishes your name, which you've invested in with a lot of money and time. Internationally, there are international registries that handle domain name registration. So that's something for you to think about. Is your domain name registered? have you selected the region within which you want to register that domain name? And then we talk about trade dress. Now, what's trade dress? In the examples I showed you, I talked about the orange box. I don't even need to say I don't need to say to you which particular brand I was talking about. I said the orange box, but I said the blue elephant. So that is trade dress. If I say to you, oh, you know, if I had, I mean, because of time, I didn't have the opportunity to do this, but normally we would have a screen where we'll have, you know, guess which brand it is. And usually people will guess even without names. So how your brand looks, what your product looks like, the visual appearance of a product, it's packaging that signifies the source to the consumer. That is what trade dress is about. You know, and it extends to the configuration, design, the shape of a product itself. You know, it's permitted during registration to limit your use in whole or in part to one or more specified colors. But we advise you not to, because there's a particular section in the law that will, you know, without limitation of color, you're able to claim all colors. So yes, I know that is tomato red, or is MTN yellow, or is what you call it, it's glorious yellow, whatever, that's your special color. Yeah, I know. But you know what, when you're registering, you don't want to limit yourselves. The minute you use it, we see it, we know that it is yours. So that's trade dress. Trade dress quickly. Trade secrets I talked about earlier. What are trade secrets? They are a type of intellectual property that comprise formulas, you know, practices, processes, designs, instruments, patterns, you know, or in some jurisdictions, they are called confidential information. In Nigeria, they're not protected, okay? And, you know, it's not generally known to the public, but we know that there's something special about your product, okay? And it gives the owner of the trade secret some economic benefit. So if there's a particular way in which you manufacture your soaps, for instance, there's certain ingredients in there. It may be a recipe from your grandma, or it's a family tradition. It's known to you. Now, I implore you, when you grow and you expand and you go to certain parts of the world to go and have your product developed or manufactured in bulk, do not reveal that secret. When somebody says, oh, there's a particular way in which I do something, I want to protect it. The way you protect it, it exposes it, because then it's in the public domain. You have protection, but anybody can go into the patent office, the trademark office, check what's there, you know, and begin to work on what you have, you know, done. So it makes you like I said, that beverage company keeps its secret. For so many years, they've held that secret. And, you know, I'm actually trying to find, so they said the secret formula of this particular product is locked in a vault. You know, it's a formula or a recipe. And we're entrepreneurs. So, you know, there are some things that are passed down generations. So let's be careful to look at, when you enter agreements for manufacturing, don't release too many things. Some things you keep to your chest. The next slide is GIs. Okay, so GIs are also a type of IP. According to WIPO, and I'm going to read the WIPO definition, this is a sign used on products that have a specific geographical origin and possess qualities or a reputation that are due to that origin. In order to function as a GI, a sign must identify a product as originating in a given place. In addition, the qualities, characteristics, or reputation of that product should be essentially due to the place of origin. So we know that, I mean, the example I'm going to give today is Gari Ijebu. Okay? So we don't have protections for GIs here. But as you go on to negotiate and you sit at those tables, please, let's keep an ear out. We don't want Gari manufactured. Remember, AFTA is going to open up Africa. So you don't want Gari manufactured or manufactured or grown, you know, in a different region being labeled that. So that's something that we must keep in mind. There are things we begin to speak about. I have example here. There's Ashoke. there's afang soup, there's Benue yam. You know, there's so many things that come from particular regions in our country that what makes it what it is because it's come from that country. And they're the only products that really should be identified as such. Okay, now we'll go on to patents, because I know I have people ask all the time, I want to have a patent, I want to have a patent. Do you really want to have a patent? What is a patent? It's an exclusive right. The law gives you a right for an invention, for a product, you know, or a process that provides in a general way, a new way. Is your invention new? Is it novel? Never seen before? Is that what it is? Or is it something that you're doing something in a different way? The patent requirements is so stringent that many fail, and it is not a cheap process. You know, and it's not a cheap process. So, and you have an exclusive right. What is protectable? It has to be new, as I said. It has to be or something that offers a new technical solution to a problem. So imagine there's a challenge in your industry and you're able to develop something totally new. Then you have patent protection. And how long is it for? 20 years. Registration required? Yes, definitely. National registration? Yes. International? Yes. There are international agreements that countries enter into, and that they bind, you know, you're bound by those requirements. So I'm sure the questions will be, you know, readdressed now, because at the end I have the top 10 FAQs that we usually get asked. So that's what patents do. Utility models are available in under the OAPI and their repo, and I'll talk about that. My slide on the internationals will come down later. So what are they? We actually have a draft law, a draft IP law, and you'd be remiss of me not to mention it here. We do have a draft IP, and it has, you know, all these beautiful rights are all encompassed in there. I think we've had more people attend. So if you can have the poll relaunched again, please. And if you've answered before, please don't answer again, so we can just get a feel of what we're talking about. So the utility models, they're the best form. They're called petty patents. So it's like a mini patent, you know. And here they protect new technical inventions through grants a limited exclusive right. So it's an exclusive right, you know, but it's for a short period. Instead of 20 years, it's from 6 to 10 years. And to obtain protection, it must be filed and a utility model will be granted. ARIPO and OAPI provide for this type of patents, because we're talking to the African entrepreneur, African woman, female entrepreneur, because I know AWEP cuts across the continent. And then we're going to talk about designs, industrial designs. So I mentioned it earlier, you know, so the appearance of an armchair, something that, you know, refers to ornamental or aesthetic aspects. So not industrial, something that's you need to function in, you know, the industry. So that's what you get, and you get 15 years from a date of registration. I see some people here, one person out of the 7, okay, has a design registration. Some people have copyrights, excellent. Some say they don't have any, 38%. And I see that the numbers of those who haven't registered any is higher than those who have. And then we go to copyright, which copyright, you know, as I mentioned earlier, is a legal term to protect, you know, creators, you know, the creative industry. An idea in any form, idea by itself is not protected, because what IP rights do is they give you a monopoly. They give you a right to own property forever. It's like owning your plot of land in Banana Island, Orange Island, whatever island, you know, and Lekki Phase, whatever it is, you know. So you own it. You own it for life. If you maintain it, you will own it. Same thing with intellectual property. Copyright protects expression of our artistic works, our sound recordings. And you know what? In this case, the duration is most times for artistic works, literally and musical is 70 plus life. So it's life plus 70. The life for the lifetime of the author, of the musician, of the writer, and then 70 years after. So it's property. It's actually something you pass on to you can put in your estate if you look after it properly. But if you don't, then it's free for all, and there's nothing to lose. Broadcasts, or there's a lot to lose. For broadcasts, it's 50 years, and there are regulatory agencies, and we'll talk about those. So for copyright is the NCC, Nigeria Copyright Commission. And I think that's it. Please post your questions as we go along so that we can answer them. I don't know that we'll have time at the end. We're talking about plant varieties. I listened to the gentleman before, and he talked about, you know, he concentrated a lot on the agric. Thank you, please. I think we should end the poll. Thank you. Share results. Yeah. Okay, so the plant varieties, as I said to you, we have a bill in place. All of these are protected. Currently, they're not. But in Africa, on the continent, we actually do have protection in certain countries. Seeds, 20 to 25 years. Vines and trees, 25 to 30 years. You know, and PVRs are of significant agricultural importance. So the more, as farming is, you know, agriculture is developing, we're farming a lot more, we'll begin to discover a lot more seeds and seedlings and saplings. You know, you actually get protection. And the International Union for Protection of PVRs, protection of new varieties of plants, there's 76 member states, there are only 6 African countries: Egypt, Kenya, Morocco, South Africa, Tunisia, and Tanzania. So that's on PVRs. I'm trying to basically, I don't know if I should say provoke you to begin to fight for the things that, you know, we could get, for want of a better word. So let's talk about national and international expansion, which I think, and I have maybe another 2 minutes and I'll be done. So where do I start from? Charity begins at home. Start at home. Start to, you know, gather your IP, identify what is, you know, your nuggets, the gold, and gather that together and begin to look. Before we look, you know, we leap across to New York and China, Dubai, India, all of that. Yeah, we'll go to, and Africa is even opening up, you know, so it's become like a huge market. But protect at home first. How do you do that? There's, you know, we have offices here. International expansion, you know, remember that trademarks are territorial. Your national registration covers Nigeria. I'm registered in Nigeria, I'm going to Ghana. It doesn't work. It means you have to go to Ghana and register there. I'm registered in Nigeria, I want to go to Tanzania. The same thing applies. I'm registered in Nigeria, or I want to go to America. Yes, so we will have to go that way, you know. So we have to go across to those countries. In Nigeria, the regulators that we should bear, or before I do that, let me see. So the national, and I'll come to the other slides later. National, the Commercial Law Department, the Trademark Office is in the Ministry of Trade and Investment, where the AWEP office, I believe, is situated. That is our port of call for registration. Internationally, if you're going to, we have a repo. Our repo is in in Zimbabwe, and that covers the English-speaking African countries. OAPI covers the French-speaking African countries. We don't have time to talk about that now. We have the WIPO system, where you file one application, it covers, you know, about, I think 100, last count, 100 plus countries. We actually have a WIPO office in Nigeria. The EU, I heard the gentleman talk about EU certification. If you're going to EU, they're going to ask you for something GAP. Before you go to EU, please ensure that you are protected, okay? Otherwise, you know, let it not be the proverbial, like the yam pounder. The myth is that the yam pounder, that national yam pounder, was actually, you know, developed here, and in the process of looking for funds and whatever, we lost that valuable intellectual property right. And the PCT, covers international registration of patents. And so I'm going to go back to, sorry. Ooh, where am I? We're here. I wanted to do this. Yes, so the regulators that we all need to be familiar with and bear in mind. I know many of the food ladies food and beverages are familiar with NAFDAC. They ask us all the time, can we, I need to register. Before you can get your registration at NAFDAC or certification, you have to have a trademark registered. So bear these in mind, bear these regulators in mind. The Standard Organization of Nigeria was mentioned earlier for ISO certification. The FCCPC, as is now known, is also important. For when your product is being counterfeited, for want of a better word, the consumer can go to the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission and make a complaint, and then you'll be summoned in to come and explain why. So these are bodies we should bear in mind. For those of us who export our products, I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of exporting going on anyway with COVID and all of that. Bear in mind the Nigerian Customs Service. They have a thriving, a very effective IP unit. They actually have an intellectual property unit, and they assist consumers as well as brand owners. I've talked about that. So, important considerations as I round up now. Distinctiveness, as I said to you earlier, your mark must be distinctive. Your brand must be distinctive. Yes, an abstract word, abbreviations and all of that, but make sure it makes sense. Don't describe your product. Make your product distinctive. Territory of protection, bear that in mind. Use. As usual, INTA has both brand owners and practitioners. So I say to you, look for experienced counsel. And as an SME, prioritize your most valuable trademark, okay? Or your most valuable, IP. Keep your future goals, your business goals in mind from day one. Don't wait till, the examples we've had of scenarios where people go off to exhibitions with products and they have no IP registered. At least if you have IP registered at home, you can say, okay, I have intellectual property. Yes, it's territorial, but I use it in my country. So, but you go there, it's like you just gone there with your plot of land and left it open for everybody, free for all. Identify your key markets. Not every market is relevant to you, as you know, and not every training you will do. It's not everywhere you will put your money. So sometimes I think protecting your IP is a place you should, and engage in early trademark searching. Don't wait for 3 years. You may think that, oh, my mark, I'm sure, but you've been using it, they've been selling it and all of that, and you haven't registered. Some smart Alec has gone and registered your mark, and you will have to pay and buy it off them. Do you understand? Because it's first to file. He files first, he has a prior right to you. Yes, you have been using. How do you prove the use? Okay? So, and then my final slide, I believe, is this. So these are top 10 FAQs we get. I want to patent my trademark. Please, that's not a question. You don't patent your trademark. I've told you what you patent today. How can I trademark my patent? Maybe your product is you can have a trademark registration for it. How can you get your product patented? I've told you what you need to do. At least in Nigeria, we have a fantastic trademark office. The Patent and Trademark Office is there. Is your business name your trademark? If you want it to be, but be careful. You don't want confusion. Somebody's registered. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. The NEPC is also one of the agencies for SMEs to register with. Yes, with regard to IP, I'm addressing IP. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Ayodele Bamishaye. The NEPC, obviously, if you're going to begin to export, you have to look to that. Can you use your name and company name? Yes, you can. Help. I've started to sell and advertise my products and services. As I said to you earlier, use you begin to acquire some rights. It's common law, but now that you've realized you haven't done anything, please try and get it protected. If you're registered in your country, are you protected in the world? No, you're not, except you register in all those regions, the regional protections, but your country must be a signatory for you to benefit. How do we as a business association get a seat at the table of negotiations with members? I know Madam President I don't need to answer that question. Madam President is more than able to get you a seat at any table of negotiations that you need to get yourselves in. As a business association, inform policy. I have told you how you can inform policy or take back in policy conversations. Those areas of law that are not yet protected, begin to raise the dust about them, begin to show interest. And where do you begin to start? Start from where you are now. Wherever you are now, take another step and another step. And I think you will get there in the end. And if there's nothing else, I will thank you for your kind attention. And please, INTA, follow INTA. The INTA.org is a site. There's a lot of free information that you can read, and you can gather, just basic information about IP rights from our website. And I will end my slides, stop my sharing, and listen to any questions that we may have. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lara. This is quite informative. Thank you so much. Ladies, you can put up your questions on the question box. Can you go to the Q&A drop box? There's a question there.
Some have been answered already. Is that correct? Okay, that's not just one question.
Yeah.
Madam Yusuf, okay, I see your question. There's so much in there that I honestly would say I want to take it offline, because you have a lot in there that we shouldn't be talking about. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You are protecting her.
Absolutely.
That's good.
I mean, I'm thinking, no, wait, I'm actually not going to read this question out. I want us to, I'm not asking you to engage me or anything, but I will advise you, on what you should be doing. Because I see special, there's a lot of special, and you know what I'm saying. So let's talk about it afterwards. And thank you, Mr. Bamshaya. Yes, NEPC is something that, okay. The slides, okay. Yeah. Okay, yes. Yes, NEPC, if you're looking to export, of course, you have to look at the NEPC that you need to register with, because you can't do anything properly without being registered there. And then
Thank you so much. Yeah. Can we share your slides with our members?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Yes, you can. I mean, it's just basic information. If there's anything you want us to do, we'll give you as much information as we can. Okay. Somebody's hand is raised. The website to check the availability of a trademark or brand name. Now, you do that. Sorry, I'm answering the questions. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So the trademark registry is where we conduct searches. Where we conduct searches for trademarks and or brand names, as you say, sir, Mr. Engineer Chukuma. Yes, so that's where you would have to go to conduct those. They're not online. What we have online is not online yet. So I know that we're digitizing the registry as we speak, and so it will be advantageous for you to actually conduct a proper availability search at the trademark registry.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Ladies, I think she has answered our questions. I don't know if there's still any other questions she needs to answer for us. Or you can.
Sorry, one more. Madam
Quickly, Madam
Just
Lara,
ask one.
I have a
Please.
question. Please.
Yes, please. I just want to ask one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Please, you know, a lot of our members have transited online now. Are there special licenses or things needed to trade online without any legal implications or infringement? Because we all just transited normally as if it's the next best thing to do under the circumstances. Are there things that are tailored to that?
Okay, so provided you were trading legitimately,
okay,
you should be fine. The trademark registry, the trademark registry is in Abuja. I'm just sorry, ma'am. I'm doing both at the same time. So provided you were trading properly, in the first place pre-COVID, you should be fine. But I would protect myself. It's like literally taking your jewels, and because the World Wide Web or the online space is free for all. It's free for all. So if you are not protected and you go on there, really you're very successful. So you've just given me an opportunity to go in and pluck and trade off. I'll just trade off your reputation. I can pass off my product as yours, and I can clone your sites. I can, so there are many things that you must be sure of before, you head on to the web space.
Okay. Secondly, we have members in the services that are doing online business. I take myself as an example. I do online courses.
Yes.
Heavily. I didn't do no registration under that.
Do you have a brand name? Do you have a brand name for that?
Yes, I do.
So do you have a service mark for it?
Lara, this open question, we won't take this person.
So that's it now. Madam President, the fact that I know what the answer is. So really, so let me ask you the same question I'm going to ask you. Assuming we have that plot of land on Banana Island.
Yes.
Is it fenced? Have you fenced the property? You fenced it. Do you have electric wire? Do you have security guard?
I completely understand. So I can't hide the fact that it's.
Because what will happen is you won't even know, ma'am. Because it's online, you actually won't know. You will not know that this has gone on, because they'll just clone you, and they'll just you've just found. Then it may be somebody who knows you says, oh, can I get madam, I went to your site and I saw that I've paid already. And that's when you realize that, I know it's not my site. You went, oh, really? There was no evidence that it looked like yours. But if you have some protection, some registration, So that's what the example I give all the time is a plot of land. We know land or your diamonds. Those of you who wear diamonds, your jewels. Do you leave them in your security house and go? Or you leave it in the living room? Go off. We don't. So why do we do that with our businesses? Why do we do that with our intellectual property rights? They are going to bring more value to. That's what in Singapore people use IP as collateral. It's been used as collateral to borrow money. So what are we doing with it?
Thank you so much, Lara. The question that you just answered was exactly the question I wanted to ask, because I said I have a product, a software, web-based products. How would I begin to protect that? And you have just exposed us.
I'm telling you.
It is well.
So no, it's not an exposure. It's not an exposure. But you see what I mean. So you register, you're protected. So make sure you're registered before you head out, before you engage, especially those of us who manufacture, but those of us who go for exhibitions. Please make sure you have some sort of protection before you go. There's a story I heard on another presentation of a lady who went to, I don't know, I'm not naming any names, went to manufacture, entered business agreement with a gentleman to a gentle person to distribute for her. She couldn't keep up with money. She didn't have funds, were a problem and all of that. So this distributor took the business off her. took the business offer. Don't allow anybody to register your mark for you in any country. Do not. I'm your distributor. They don't do it like that. I have to do it in my name. Really? Will you allow somebody to take your passport and travel abroad with your visas? Would you? I mean, do you get what I'm saying? Apart from the fact that your fingerprint they will catch them at the airport. There's a deterrent. So what is the fingerprint that protects your business? And that's the question I'm going to give you. What is the fingerprint? What is that unique identity of yours that you have protected, that's protecting your business?
Wow, that's interesting. Thank you so much. So I think we are done with the questions. Yeah, thank you very much, ma. And ladies, thank you for taking a time. We know we're supposed to close by 3. We all know that what we need to do on how to get our business running and not hijacked by other people. So I will hand over to my Secretary General to give the vote of thanks. And if Madam President have anything to say to us, we want to hear from her. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much, Madam Nelly. Thank you, Madam Lara. Excellent delivery as always. It's always a pleasure to have you talk to us. You educate us so much. We are deeply grateful. Thank you so much. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of us that have participated in this webinar today. I'm sure that it has been a lovely time well spent. I have learned a lot myself, and I'm sure that all our members in AWEP, in their different clusters and their businesses, must now know all the certifications they need to have and how to protect their intellectual property. I want to thank our presenters, that is the organizations and agency NICERT, INTA, Mr. Israel that is on transit, Mrs. Lara, Mr. Tat that spoke to us, Concept 24 that has been very able technical partners in this program, and my team, the conference committee that has packaged this beautiful pre-conference seminar. I want to say thank you all so much. Let me not forget, without the participants today, we wouldn't have had a very successful event. So I want to encourage us, please, this is the first step. On the 12th of November, that is next Thursday really, we are having the second leg of this pre-conference program. We will be having 2 presenters on that day. I'm sure we all know our profitability queen, Mrs. Ekaite Umo. She will be talking on financial documentation for businesses. I will be having a specialist from the UK talk to us about export logistics and efficient approach to global business. So it's going to be another powerful packed event and program. We encourage and invite you. You will be getting the flyers before the day. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Madam P, I want you to give us the last word before we leave. Thank you. Mrs. Ajala, are you still with us, ma?
Oh. Hello. Is
Mrs. Ajala with us?
Her network went off. Can Madam Lamy?
Is the DMP here?
DMP, yes.
Okay. Madam Lamy, are you here with us still?
I'm here with you. I'm here with you.
Madam Lamy?
Yes, ma'am. What would you like me to do?
No, just to give us a final vote of thanks and a farewell to the participants, that's all.
Oh, okay. All right. So thank you very much to all our participants. And it's been a very impactful and I would say a groundbreaking event. Not many associations do this kind of thing, you know, a pre-conference talk to members. So on behalf of AWEP, I would like to thank everybody for participating. It's been a wonderful experience. We look forward to seeing you all on the 12th of November. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hello.
All right, we would quickly like to take a group photograph. Could everyone switch on their videos? Wow. And then we would take that group photograph.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I'm
so
waiting.
Please, Madam Lamy, your face.
Okay.
Let's have our group photo.
Oh. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready.
Madam MP, is she back on? We can't take this picture without our national president, please. Is she here?
Okay, we're waiting for her. So we're just waiting for Mrs. Ajala to come back on the call. Precious, can you reach out to Madam MP?
Oh, again, who is next? And Sheila. Okay, says she can't get back. It's Madam Mede.
Oh, okay. So, Dr. Sheila.
She's unable to connect back. Yes. Hello.
Who has this AWEP Nigerian screen? Who is this AWEP Nigeria?
I don't know. Pressure is already here, so I don't know. I think it's Mr.
Oh,
Sheila.
but Precious' video is not on.
It's on. It's Dr.
Mr. Sheila?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Dr. Sheila, can you hear us, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
The president has indicated that she's unable to join us. So let's go ahead and take the picture.
All right, so please everybody smile. I'll do a countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll take the photograph, okay?
They are aware.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Smile, please. Okay. We'll do it one more time.
Just open your teeth.
One more time. Everybody can get ready.
Oh. Yeah.
Madam Nelly, are you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready, sir. Sorry.
All right, then. Everybody, big smile. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. We're done.
Thank you. I can only see 2 of us.
So, Dr. Sheila,
Yes.
Can we end the call? I can still see participants.
Yes, we can end it at any point in time.
All right, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you all for
Bye,
everything.
y'all. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Miss Lara.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My DMP, good to see your face.
Guys, thank you.
Hi, Lamy.
Bye.
Bye.
Because I wasn't ready.
I can see
when you asked me to
I know.
Okay,
I'm
guys.
not ready at all.
Lady
Scarf somewhere.
with the question, please. I really need to speak with her. Mrs. Yusuf? Hafsa Yusuf? The lady with the question?
Okay, is she our member? Sure, she's a member. Okay, maybe what we'll do is to connect her to you later.
If there's somebody raising their hand, Soraya Aji.
They're still raising hand.
Soraya, she's just joined.
Ah, okay. All right, ma'ams. Permission to fall out.
Thank you so much, ma. We appreciate
having me. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.